Hi, I'm Laura. Welcome to Pretty Powerful Pandas, a mini-series where I'll walk you through the most useful, elegant lines of code in Pandas, whether you're just starting out or you want to level up your data game. Hi, and welcome back to Pretty Powerful Pandas. Episode 5 is all about tidy code. So we're going to be looking at how we can keep our columns clean and reassigning our columns and doing some queries and keeping them nice and clean and tidy and easy to read with .assign and .query today. So I've imported pandas as PD as always, and we're still looking at our Titanic dataset because it is just helping us do everything we need to do today. So the first thing we're going to look at is how we can set up a new column. And I think it's kind of, I have to be honest here, I hadn't actually used .assign and .query before, but when I was researching Pretty Powerful Pandas for you guys, I kind of discovered it, found out about it, and thought, do you know what, that is actually something, after practicing, something that is so useful that I really should have been using it, and it is something I'm going to be using going forward. So really useful stuff, especially if anyone else is reading your code, if you're having a code review or something. So I would highly recommend using it when you need your code to be nice and clean and clear to understand. So let's have a look. And don't get me wrong, I'm not going to use it always. If I just want to get some code done and it's kind of messy, dirty code, just quick to do the job, I will be using something like this, which I typically use. So I would go assign a new column on my DataFrame, and it would be some old column and then some manipulation, for example. Put that in there because we're not actually going to run it. And if I was going to do some query, I would take my data frame and I would slice it with some column, and then I would put a condition on it, so let's say greater than 100. And that is exactly how I would assign a new column, or I would do some manipulation, kind of finding a subset of my data frame, so some query. And honestly, that works. And when you need to do stuff, sometimes you just need things that work, and it's perfectly fine. However, once your logic starts stacking up and you are creating columns and filtering rows and grouping, and you've got this massive big script that goes on for days, it can get a bit cluttered, and you do want to keep it neat and clean. As I say, especially if someone else is going to be reviewing your code, you want to be nice and just make it work. So today we are going to use .assign and .query, and we're going to show you how powerful it can be. And we're going to look at the ticket fare per person. So throughout the Titanic data set, we know that we've got these columns. Two of our columns are ticket and fare, but that fare does not represent the cost for a single person. It's actually the fare for the ticket, and multiple people might be on the ticket. So we've got to use a few different columns to help us kind of figure out how many people are included within the ticket. So this first one here is actually your sibling or spouse, so it's kind of the same person on that same generation as you. And then we've got this one here that is parent and child, so kind of the other generation. And then let's not forget the actual person who has the ticket for that line. So what we're going to do is, I think we should assign a new column and call it family size. So we're going to rewrite our data frame or create a new data frame. And it's going to be based off this original data frame, but we are going to, assign, there we go, and I'm going to assign family size using the same naming convention as previous. And what we're going to do is take this sibsp and add the column of parent and child, and then don't forget to add that person themselves. Lovely. And that's all fine and great. So now we've got a family size. So we can now work out the fare per person, because that's going to be our fair, and then it's going to be divided by this family size. However, a family size doesn't exist at the moment, so what I'm going to do is just take this and put it in like that. If you wanted to, you could have done them in two separate lines, so you could have assigned family size first and then gone back and assigned fair per person, which would just be data frame of the column fair divided by the data frame of the family size column. So yeah, it's up to you. I'm just being efficient and doing it all at once. I was going to say lazy, but no, efficient. Okay, so let's run that and see what we get. There we go, we've got our two new columns. So family size is this number plus 1, so we get just 1s or 2s at the moment, and fair per person is the fair divided by this family size. Lovely. So yeah, no intermediate steps, no reassigning, no dot copy, it's all self-contained and more importantly very easy to read. So how would we filter, how would we query that? So let's look at large families, or larger families than we're used to maybe these days. So I'm going to do a dot query. I'm going to do family size, and let's put the condition is greater than or equal to 5. And again, just look at the top few of those. And this is quite lovely, isn't it? It seems quite normal so far. We've got just family size, and we're querying within the data frame the column family size anywhere it's greater than or equal to 5. And here we go. But the real power comes when we start to do multiple conditions. So let's do DataFrame.query. This time I want my family size. Let's keep it greater than or equal to 5. And you notice I've just literally typed out and the fair I wanted to be greater than 50. And lo and behold, oh, I should have done dot head, excuse me. There we go. It's able to query using multiple conditions. And I don't know about you, but sometimes when I query and my conditions can get really difficult and confusing, and there are multiple brackets, there are ampersands, there are pipes, there are all sorts of things going on. So actually this is lovely, isn't it? It's really, really pretty. So yeah, that's definitely one that I'm very impressed at. And we've got family size that's 5 or greater, and the fair is over 50. Lovely. So we've done that just in a couple of lines. I am going to show you how you can do it in one step, and I'm going to copy and paste this because otherwise you'd just be sitting watching me type, which would be awful given my spellings. But here we go. We could actually create a brand new data frame, so data frame result, and that could be assigned from the data frame with the assigned 2 new columns of family size equaling our manipulations and our fair per person again. And then our next line is the query, a multiple conditional query, and instantly it's able to do all of that. I don't know about you, but I think that is lovely. That's really, really nice. So yeah, this is what Pandas is great at. Turns analysis into something logical and tidy, readable, and you just get the results that you're looking for. So yeah, absolutely lovely. Yay. Last session we did look at grouping, so if you missed that episode, go back and review that. But what if we wanted to do some grouping as well? Let's have a little look. So we would take our data frame. I'm going to do my dot query on the next line actually, and I'm going to check out family size. Let's just keep it with what we're doing. So family size greater than 5, and then I'm going into a new line for dot group by. So I've done my choosing my data frame, I've done my query. I'm now just going to do my group by. Let's do P class. So I want to group by the P class based on fair per person. There we go. And let's do that by mean. Lovely, okay. And then if I do that, there we go. How neat is that? Isn't that just so lovely? So one line to query, one line to group, one line to get the insight. So yeah, if you, like me, had never actually heard of nor used .assign or .query, I urge you to give them a go. They won't just make your code shorter, they will make your thinking clearer. And in data science, clarity is power. And that is going to be much easier for someone else who's reviewing your code to read. So that's your tip. So go make your data pretty powerful.